Hello everyone, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel, and this is Steve coming back with another utility or another Unity video. What I want to show you now is what I've really been working on here, and I hope to be different than a lot of people. Not to say people aren't original, but one of the things I found out when I was first doing Unity and designing my own levels and stuff like that is I began to realize that there was a limited amount of objects you could really get. I mean, unless you want to go Google them, you're going to take your chances on, FPS frame rate being affected by other models and stuff like that. I found out when I used a lot of different models it affected my frame rates more. So what I finally decided to start doing was building my own. Now, I'm no professional at it yet and I'm still learning, but I want to show you kind of how far I've gotten and where I'm still going from here, what my goals are and what I hope to achieve eventually. So I'm going to start by showing you the scene here. If you look up here, you guys haven't seen this in a while, but I've already textured the entire city. I'll show this to you in a little bit here. But I wanted to first show you one of the more recent models was right here. There's a scaffold and then, well, it's an unfinished crane, but you can see a crane ladder going all the way up there to the top. And if you walk over here, you can actually go inside of it a little bit. Whoops. My keys just got stuck again. So now I'm kind of inside the... whoops. I was inside it. Okay, now I'm inside the crane. If I look up here, you can see up inside of it and everything. So it's original. It's got some thick walls on it. I mean, it's not perfect looking. It still looks a little blocky and stuff like that, but it looks good from the outside. I think pretty good for the most part. And as you get close, it looks kind of funny, but far away it looks kind of good. And I put some textures on it, so it's got like a metal shiny surface on it. And then this one over here too has got a metal shiny surface, and this would be the scaffold. You can also walk through it here. So that's the scaffold in the crane I'm going to be working on. And then over here we'll start with, you probably didn't see it, but I textured these buildings last time. I've got windows on them now, and over here is something I created last week. It's actually a parking deck, and it's complete with some, well, generic cars inside here. You can kind of see them right here. And I'll put it in run mode so we can kind of see it better here. So let me just get this started. Might take a moment. Hopefully it doesn't crash. Might take a little bit of a second here. Still working on the storyline and everything. I decided what I'm going to make it is there's going to be an alien ship at the top of this world, which I probably didn't show you in the last video. I added this gigantic world at the top, and just like a giant mountain, and then you have to get up there and talk to the aliens. It's going to take me a second for it to come back here. Man, this time it's really going slow. Okay, let me in. Okay, so here's the parking deck as we just saw. See, I can go inside of it. Now I can't go through the walls. I've got some gliders on there, so I can't just go wherever I want. I also can't go over here. There's gliders there. And we got the original message here. When we touch the box, I moved that over here. And this one is something I added. Is a bus stop. Like a bus waiting, whatever you call it. It's got little glass windows. Excuse me, the frame rate's really being affected here. I have this set in a higher resolution, although the video recorder warned me not to. I just wanted to see what happens if I recorded at a higher resolution. So I can start seeing the suffering effects of it already. So here's the city, which you didn't see last time. You see the texturing. You can also hear the sound. I added a city sound now. Now these are the original models that I found on Blender. It was a city model. I mean, I could easily go and create my own now, but you know, I decided I'd just take theirs since somebody's already demonstrated it on YouTube before. But it didn't have textures on there, just kind of how mine started off, and I set the textures to repeat, and I was able to apply them across the buildings. And these are just CG textures at textures.com. And I textured that building over there too. So it's starting to come along, I think. Frame rate's still getting affected. I'm still hoping to get a better graphics card too. I know this one I'm using, this is not very good. And here's the lab. I've actually added some new textures to the lab and also to the, what you call those, the smokestacks there. I don't know if I showed you this one, but this has a little ladder on it there, just like you would see on a smokestack. You can't climb it, but you know, it's the whole idea behind it. And I showed you this, but I didn't show you inside here, so I'm going to jump inside here. I forgot I'm on super jump. I added some textures there on the top. Oops. I'll jump again, I guess. I can go up here. I stuck on a window. Here's what I wanted to show you. So I added more textures. This looks kind of like an older factory now. And it's got, you know, equipment, machines in here. It's got some desks in here. I added these chairs. I created these in Blender. And just with more desks. This was already here, so a lot of the stuff is just kind of original for what it was. But like I said, I'm adding my own stuff. These are stuff I built my own self. So I'm going to switch over to Blender here just for a minute. This is something I was working on recently here. Gonna make this like a title screen there for YouTube. But I'll show you some of the stuff that I've done here. Let me just save that. I'll show you the scaffold. There's a more recent scaffold I was working on. I didn't like this one too much, so I just stuck with the original one. This is the crane right here. That's part of the crane there. There's one of the larger cranes I created. I don't know if this one has textures on it or not. Let me see. Yeah, I guess it does. So that's the crane you saw earlier. Simply what you got is planes on the side here, and I just duplicated the planes and added them to each side. Now this took a lot of work too, because I really had to figure out how I was going to lay all these out, and I'll show you in a folder here real quick. So pull it over here real quick. I had to get back to the folder, it kind of disappeared here. So if I go here into my Blender folder and I go into crane, you can see right here, here's a little map. I'll put it over here. Here's the map I was creating when I was working on the crane. I had to design this and make sure it looked pretty good. Now getting it centered and that was kind of tough because you have to go through here and you have to click on these little faces here. If you've never used Blender before, what you're doing is you're essentially modifying a cube, and you're modifying these faces on. If you look real closely, if I zoom in here, these are faces right here. I can get this thing to, can't get it to move right now. I don't know why it's stuck and it's not letting me move it. Blender's been acting really weird lately. It's like taking control of my keys or something. But anyways, you can see it right there when I click on it. There's the UV map for it. And sorry I couldn't get this to scroll down for some reason. My keys don't want to move it down. Usually it shifts it down. But you can see these are the vertices. And these are the things you can click on these and you can add, you know, different stuff with them. You can extrude them or whatever you want to do with them. But it's not a Blender tutorial. I just thought I would show you that's one of the maps. So I'm just going to erase this one. And we'll just go back to the folder here. And since we already looked at the crane, we'll skip that for now. I want to show you the chair. So the most recent chair I made. So there's a chair I was working on that you saw earlier in the lab there. Well, now it's going to let me move it. Kind of a simple chair. I was trying to make it similar to the chair I'm sitting in. And you can also, there's no textures on that one. That's called rendered mode, by the way. And then we'll look and see what else is on here. Here's the bus stop. The last one I had was this one. Yeah, there's the bus stop right there that you saw earlier. This one was trickier. I had to sit there and... There's a trick with Blender. If you don't really... Like when you're adding, like, for example, these are faces. And if you're just adding individual faces, sometimes the normals are not set in the direction. A normal tells which way that face is going to be facing, because if it's not facing the right way, you can see through it at one side and not on another side. So it's kind of weird. So you have to extrude it like this, like I'm extruding it right here, basically moving it out. You see how I moved it? Well, I moved it way out there. But if you extrude it, you can kind of see it moves out there. And then that kind of fixes the normal. Then you have to go back and recalculate the normals, but we won't get into all that. So let me see what this one looks like when I render it. You can kind of see it rendered there a little bit. Okay, so we'll look at the next things here. I think I went into all this stuff before. Let's see, bus stop, buildings. I don't want to make this a repeat video because I did look at, we already looked at these. What's in the lab? Oh, this is just some of the stuff with the lab, like the work table and all that. I think I might have showed you this before. This is the work table that I originally created. Actually, that's not the original one, but one of these. Might be this one. Yeah, it's actually this one. So if I go in here, you see how it already got the textures applied, and if I hit the rendered mode, you can kind of see I put some really nice shaders on it to kind of test what it might look like if I load it into Unity and stuff like that. So that's when I was learning all about shaders and stuff like that, and you have to set this as cycles render, and there's a lot of stuff involved, so we're not going to make this a Blender tutorial. If you're interested in doing Blender tutorials, let me know. I might throw some out. You basically just set an image and you set it. This is called the node editor here. That allows you to control the colors over here. So if you're new to Blender, I guarantee it'll probably take you a good couple weeks to really get going with it. I mean, it took me a month to really get where I am now, and I'm nowhere near where I really want to be. I'm still learning stuff. But anyways, we'll go back to the game in session. Got some freeze on me again. I can really see the difference with the frame rate being affected when I have it recording at a higher resolution. You see way up there in the background, you can see that's the mountain where the alien ship has landed. I'm not going to give away the whole game, but essentially an alien ship has landed and is part of the puzzle to the game. And for those who are just watching the first time, it's a zombie game, or going to be, where you have to, literally like The Walking Dead, you have to figure out a cure or try to help these people. Well, in The Walking Dead, they go around shooting zombies, but some parts they actually try to help them. But when they're their friends, of course. But in this case, it's just a little bit different. Well, I wanted to see if I can jump up on this building. I had like the super jump set really high, so... Oh, here's what I was talking earlier about. Let's go look at that. You see how this crane side looks here? You can see it right there, but if you come over to this side, you can see right through it. But if you go through here, you can see it on the other side there. So that's called a normal. That means the face is not facing in the right direction. Wait for that noise to go by. And that's why you have to fix the normals on it. So I'm going to jump on top of this building. So even the textures on the tops of the building are being worked on, and so essentially everything is as it should be. There's nothing that looks pretty bad anymore. I think it all looks pretty original, like a city now. I like it like they're kind of scaling the building tops here. You can kind of see it from a higher perspective. I just wanted to show that to you. There's the Mr. Factory, and there's the mountains out there. There's our Mr. Scaffold. So I didn't want to make it too long, but just wanted to show you. And then there's, so it'd take a while to go through the mountains there, so I'm not going to do all that since I've done it in other videos. But I just wanted to show you. That's kind of where I'm at. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of it. The city is, it's starting to progress. I'm starting to add more and more. Think about maybe over in this section, add a water fountain or something. Like right here where this building is down here. And eventually you're going to be able to go into a couple of these buildings. And I'll just build the interiors inside of Blender. And I'll just make it, so like right now you can't go through this building because there's a mesh on it. But later I'll have it so there'll be a door you can pass right through it. And you can basically go up to the office and stuff like that. So that's what I want to do. And the fountain will be out there, of course. So, cars here, generic, I know. These are just from the original city model. That was this building model that was loaded into Blender. I'll take them out, but they all load in automatically as soon as you add the mesh anyway. So, yeah, so it's kind of like where I am right now with everything. But yeah, that's kind of where we are, and I don't know what else I could really show you in this video. I haven't showed you already, that is. If you want to know how the textures are applied, I can show you how that works. So we'll just pick a building, for example. I guess we could do this one. You just want to click on it, and then that highlights it, and over here you can see in the inspector, this is the material that they added for this building, and I already have this current texture set. So if I wanted to change that out, I can easily go in and change the textures. Now to change the textures or add new textures, you have to edit them in a way. Let me just create any crazy texture here. Let me just pick one out of here. Let's say we wanted to turn it all into grass or something. I don't know, that's kind of stupid, but let's just say we wanted to do this one. So if I click on this texture here, you see up here in texture type it shows sprite, 2D, and UI. Let me just set as a 2D plane. So you want to go in here and you want to change this to texture or normal map. I prefer normal map. And you change this one to repeat. Now if you don't, I'll show you what happens when you drag it over. So I'll click the building again. It's going to ask me to apply it anyway. It's because I was modifying the roof. Now, what you also want to do is you want to go in here and you want to duplicate it before I forget, because you don't want to change the original tile. I just duplicate them and I take the new ones here and I add them to a folder I have up here. Right here. Right there it is. Okay, and then we'll click the building here, and then we're going to just drag it over here. Now, if we drag it just like this, it's not going to apply it all the way through. And let me turn off these textures so I can kind of show you what it looks like here. I've already got two textures on one here, actually. I just realized I just had that. I think one is doing the coloring or something like that. Yeah, one's doing the highlighting and the other one's the actual texture. So we'll replace this one with one we just added. You just drag it like this to the tile texture there. And I see how it looks. I always had them looking like this before, and I was like, why does it look like only this thing here is in the center? And I did some YouTubing it, you know, went on Google, looked it up, and somebody said you have to set the everything to repeat, otherwise it's currently set to clamp, which basically means it just kind of just plops it on there and doesn't stretch the tiles. And I tried going here and I tried doing stuff like this, like stretching these tiles, and it just got uglier and uglier. So finally I decided I really need to understand this, and I went and I watched a tutorial on it, and that's when I learned that you have to basically apply the roof tile here. You see we have it set to normal map, but where it says clamp and wrap mode, you want to set it to repeat. And notice as soon as I did that, it instantly changed the building. So it took all those textures now and it applied it directly across the entire face of the building there. So now it's got that new texture on it, which of course doesn't look like a building, but I just wanted to show you that's how easily you can, you know, apply the textures. And of course, we want our building back, we can just apply it or whatever. I think it was this one. No, it wasn't that one. It was this one. There's one of these, I don't know. But anyway, that's kind of some of the things you can do there. It was this one. Not sure which one it was. That one looks even worse, huh? See, the Windows isn't converted either, so I'd have to fix that one too. Actually, that one's not bad. I've never seen that one before. So we could probably scale this one down. I don't know, 5 or something. That's too big. Let's try 3. It looks kind of weird, doesn't it? I think I might like that one. Yep. So that's what you can do with the texture maps and everything. Now, if you want to know how to import objects into Blender once you create them, you just I just grab the actual blend file and just drag it in. Like, for example, let's just go create something really simple. I couldn't really think of something like off the top of my head, but let's just say I wanted to create, I don't know, a fire hydrant or something. I probably couldn't do it fast enough in Blender, but so we'll just go here, load factory settings, and set it to like a default. So I just go over here to my little cube, and you have what are called modifiers here. If you click this, you can go and you can change the distortion of the cube. And once you set this to edit mode, I think it is. I think that's the wrong one. I'm thinking that was the right one. So I know subdivision surface will change it. That's kind of closer to what we want. And let's just say we could add another cube in here or something. And we could take this one, stick it on top of this one or something. I don't know what that's going to be, but maybe a trash can or something, I don't know. That looks like a trash can, I think. And then you just go over here to this section here. See why we have the cube highlighted. You click this little circle, it's called material. And what this does is it keeps track of the coloring and the textures you're going to put on it. So we'll just call this, I just call it the bottom base, I don't know what to call it for now. You just hit enter there. And you want to go down here and you want to change the colors for it. Actually, it's this one, excuse me. This will change the color to whatever you want it to look like. We were going to do red, but trash can wouldn't be red. Trash can would be like, I don't know, gray like or something. Green. And you can do the same thing with the cube. You just go here to material and you're going to name this one top base, I don't know. And then you could just you could do some pretty cool things. You could change the faces on this. Maybe we'll do that real quick here. Let's see if we just go in here. We're going to just set a color to it. Maybe a little bit, maybe a little darker than the lid or something like that. A little lighter or something. And then up here, now that we have the lid selected, I know that's like a weird lid, huh? You go in here and you hit edit, and then we're going to divide these faces. So what you're going to do next is you're going to hit the W key, and it's called subdivide, and this will, you see how it changes the shape of the cube for you? And over here on the left, or I'm sorry, yeah, on the left here, you have a number of cuts, and these are going to basically determine how much you want to divide this into different sections. These are called faces. And the faces are what you use to modify your work with. Now, it turned almost into a cube when I did that, so I might have to bring it back down here a little bit. Let's say we don't want to make it a cube. We also could expand it by, whoops, those are the vertices. We don't want to do that now. I'm just going to put it back into edit mode, or I mean object mode, so I can kind of move it over a little bit again. And I'm going to scale it by hitting the S key, and you just move in and out there, and we can kind of scale the size of it. Now it's getting kind of closer to our trash can there. And we'll go back to edit mode so we can go in and, you see, before we go and explain that, you see what I'm doing right here when I'm clicking these? These are called vertices, and when you move these arrows here, they change, and you can distort things with them. See how I instantly kind of grew that section there? And if I clicked away from it for a minute, oops, I'm trying to scroll it there and showed you what I just did there. I created a little distortion in the cube there. Just gonna put it back the way it was. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control Tab, and it brings up your mesh select mode. And we could try this one, but you could also do edge, and you could play with the edges and just select only the edges. And let's say if we wanted to do and move these around or something, see how you can move them around and stuff like that. This is done a lot too when you're trying to design stuff. Like I was watching one earlier where a guy was designing a car. You can select the edges and you can move the vertices and do different things with it like that. So what we're going to be using instead is the one called face, and this will instantly select the entire square itself this time. And if you hold the control key, you can select more than one there. We could create like a little center. I think I'm going to subdivide this one more time. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Look at that, I only subdivided that cube part, and it was already distorting that part. That was my fault. I forgot to do this. And then you have to select the whole object. Now that we have it selected, we can subdivide it. There we go. Now if we click off, we can instantly go in here. And it distorted it a little bit there. Did you see how it kind of looks now? And we can also hit Control here, and you can start filling in these sections faster by holding down Control. Actually, what we wanted was this, my bad. We want to fill in the center part, not the out part, because we're going to make it look like you can look inside the trash can, stuff like that. And then what you do now is you hit the X key, which means you're going to start deleting stuff. So you can dissolve faces. See what that does? It kind of gives like a really weird looking effect to it. But we don't want to dissolve faces, so we're going to undo that. I just wanted to show you some of those. Oops, X key. Dissolve vertices. That does something really weird too, because it's basically looking at only the vertices that are selected, and it's doing some really weird stuff. You can do some weird stuff with those, and then we'll undo that one, and I keep hitting that one. And then what we want is only faces. And there it is. I put a hole right down the center. Now we got something close to a trash can. Maybe not exactly, but it's getting there. We can probably go in and change this trash can a little bit too by adding vertices to it and stuff like that. And again, you just go into edit mode and you hit the W key, you subdivide it, just like we did before. Go over here and change the number of cuts, and we could instantly go ahead and start modifying this one. We can probably contort it a little bit here. We'll just select the edges. And we'll have to do this for all the edges to make this effective. So we're going to kind of, that one, and you just hold down the control key. I guess we'll do these ones for now. And you move these arrows up. See what it's kind of doing? Kind of like raised it a little bit. It looks like a trash can, sort of. Let's do the same thing. Put them back up. Oh, it's also changing the ones in the back. I forgot to unhighlight those, my bad. So if I unhighlight these and just do the ones in the front, it won't affect those. Otherwise, it's going to take care of whatever you select. So now we've got it kind of even there a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of looking like a trash can. You could probably distort the bottom here a little bit too. Just go down here to the sides. I think you guys are getting the idea. You can really do a lot of stuff. You could also use the I key for inset, and you can kind of, well, I didn't mean to do that. It clicked off on me. I erased it when I did that. Okay, never mind the inset key. I guess it only works on the faces, I don't know. But anyways, we'll just do this again and move the arrow up. There's some weird things with it. That looks kind of weird, huh? But you can see what you're doing is we're basically contorting this once looked like a cube. 2 cubes is now looking more like, hopefully, a trash can. And you could just shape it more and more, but I just wanted to show you that. Real simple, with just a simple trash can. I don't have to make this video too long. But my Unity videos are going to be mixed up with Blender and Unity, so I'm hoping to get people into Blender and start using Blender and be able to implement your stuff into Blender. So I just go up here anyway, and I didn't want to enter lab, I'm just going to put it under Blender. I'm going to save the file as trashcan.blend, but you can also go up here and you can save it as an FBX by exporting it. We could do that if it's no big deal. I guess we could save here and we could still go in here, we could export it anyway. I got so used to using the blend file, so I probably should use the FBXs, but trashcan.fbx there. And now we've got materials on this. The only thing we forgot to do is I almost forgot, most importantly, I forgot to UV unwrap everything. So I'm going to have to highlight the cube there, and I'm going to drag this little box over here so you create the menu. You're going to hit the N key, or in this section, hit the N T key, excuse me, so you can get rid of that little menu there. And you're going to move this over, and you see this arrow again, you're going to drag it down. You don't drag it the right way, it's going to come out like that. Drag it down. So we have 3 different windows, and this is going to be our main view window. And down here at the bottom, we can just make this a node editor. Make this one the UV image header, so we can see when we UV map it. Now you go back over here and you hit the U key to unwrap it, and you'll see it basically did that. It's Smart UV Unwrap, I always use that one. And now you can see it kind of lined up all these vertices for us, all the faces. You just go over to this one next and tab out of that one. You're going to go to this one, and we're going to do the same thing to this one. That's kind of interesting the way the top looks there. Oh, that's because of the graphing. But anyways, you're going to go to the top one here, and we've got it selected only, and we can unwrap that one now. Well, I'm not even in edit mode, am I? Oh, I probably have to select this whole thing then, because you can use the B key to kind of select the whole thing like that. And the B key will drag over top of the cube there, select bigger portions. I should have probably done it before I changed the box and all that. It's going to take me forever just to put these boxes in. Otherwise, it's only going to un-UV remap a few things. which isn't going to give us what we want, what we're looking for. I'm just going to individually do some of these so I don't accidentally leave something out. Zoom in here a little bit. You can kind of get a first hand of what's going on here, hopefully. And I'm just holding down the shift key when I'm highlighting all these and keeping them all highlighted, so I can highlight all of them, and then we're going to unwrap them and everything. And the B key earlier I did when you saw me drag over the top of the cube, that's called box select mode. Box select mode, excuse me. I'll do it again here. If you hit the B key, it allows you to select larger portions. So instantly it's facing them really quickly there. So it's a faster way of facing things, getting things done. Saves a lot of time. You can also do it here. I just don't want to select offside of it. Now if I hit the 1 key, I can get it lined up. 3 key, flip the other side. And I could hit the 7 key to get the top. To kind of see your way around the cube there, so to speak. But anyways, we're almost done here. Pretty sure that's everything. We're just not going to do the inside. Well, it already does the inside anyway, I forgot. So, looks like that's everything. So now we can unwrap it just by hitting the U key and unwrap. And that one didn't come out bad, but I always smart unwrap it just to keep it organized. And now we have everything unwrapped where we can basically apply textures to it. So we could still do that over here if we wanted to. I'll show you what happens if I apply a texture here. Oh, I have it in edit mode, forgot. So let's make sure I got the top base, texture, go down here, and I select this to image or movie, so we can select a texture from our hard drive. And I can just go in here, select any one of these. I don't really have one for a trash can, so I'm just going to select, I don't know. Let's just do that one, I guess. Metal painted, maybe? See what that looks like. You won't see it until you actually apply the render. I'm going to do this to both so we can have them both textured here. And you just hit new to create the texture, then you can name it. I usually name the materials, I don't always name the textures. And back to CG textures. We'll just set this one to asphalt, I guess. Now they're both there. And all you have to do now is go down here to object mode, and you're going to select, I'm sorry, not object mode, the one right beside it. Select rendered, and there we go. There's the textures we just applied to it. We could also smooth it out. You can kind of see it's got the little cement on it. But we could download a trash can texture layer. I just wanted to show you that's how you apply the textures and everything. And you can also hit Shift Z to get out of this, to get back to the edit mode. And you could set lightings and stuff like there. You're also supposed to get a habit of going in and deleting these. I forget often you want to delete the cameras and delete the light. I can move this over a little bit, I guess. I think what is I forgetting here? Okay, well I guess we could go back and try to test it out in Unity now, finally. And we already have it set here as trashcan.blend. We could save that again, and of course we'll FBX it again. Trashcan.fbx. Now that we have our actual materials here, and we have our textures, we have our materials for this part and our textures, we can go back. Oh, I was going to show you the node editor, but If you wanted to apply realistic imaging, you could do that with the node editor, but I guess we won't do it in this video. Because it's not the whole idea to really create something really cool in Blender, but rather just, you know, port it over to Unity. For some reason I can't seem to click on that right now. Like Blender froze or something here. Can I figure out what's happened here? Yeah, Blender is taking a dive here for some reason. Oh, I already saved it. I'm just gonna have to shut it down. I don't know. When you do rendering too, Blender really takes a hit on that. I mean, your computer takes a hit on that, so don't render. I have no idea why it's stuck now. Like my computer is totally frozen or something here. I can't even get out. Okay, I finally minimized there. Okay, so we'll go back here, and now we're going to drag it in. Or you can, somebody said you can also go in here, you can right click and get it in here too. I saw this one online. You go in here, you can actually import them. Import new asset. It should open up a folder, there it goes. And all we have to do is just navigate to it. And we add the FBX trash can right at the bottom there. And we import it, you should be able to see it, and there it is. It puts in the original, it actually did put the texture for the, and it put the texture for the purple part. So now we can just drag it in here and use it. And there it is. And there's our little, ugly little trash can. And you can see it there. Move it over here, maybe shrink it down a little bit so it looks like a trash can. Let's go up here and you can shrink it down a little bit. And expand it a little bit. Ugly trash can, but guess it's gotta do, right? You could also go in here, you could change the textures. Now that we clicked on it here, you'll see trash can has appeared in your hierarchy. If you click this, you'll see cube and cube 01. Those are the two different cubes we created. So just click on the cube that you want to change the color for. Since we didn't change the color for this one, we're going to select this one. And we're going to go to textures, and we already modified some of these earlier. So we could easily go in and add something here, like, I don't know, anything. You can just drag it in here. You got the colors currently set. Now you usually want to drag it here where it says normal map. Let's see if we did this one. Yeah, I did this one earlier. I don't know what that'll do. I'm just curious. Anyways, so we'll go in here and we'll drag it into normal. So you see I just applied it there. So it took that little bricky texture and applied it to our little trash can there. You can also change the colors of these. You probably caught that earlier. When you click on the cube here, it selects the bottom one. That's weird how it looks like that. Anyways, select the bottom one here. And these are the colors here, so you can go in. This one's kind of black. You could go in and you could change this to something else. Maybe something that looks closer to what we just changed it to. And now it's got kind of like a red base to it. And of course you can go over here and you can add, we don't have a texture added yet, but we could add another texture here. Let's do that one, see what happens. Just curious. Doesn't look too bad, I guess. It's like a wooden trash can or something. Whoops. Looks like you can still see the normals are affected there. You just select the whole thing here and you can move it around. But you've seen how easy this was to create a video, create your own little asset into Unity from Blender and how to create one. So I think this is enough for this tutorial series. I don't want to make it too long and overwhelm you. I just wanted to show you this is underway And yeah, I hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe, and look forward to this game moving forward, and more modeling and more game design to come very soon. So thanks for watching, guys.